Hello everyone, welcome back to my B&B Today spoiler channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. The Bold and the Beautiful is about to deliver one of those shocking twists that could change several relationships at once, according to B&B spoilers for Monday, August 17th. Steffy Forrester Finnegan and Carter Walton are expected to find themselves caught in a moment of weakness. Both are emotionally devastated, both have been drinking, and both are dealing with marriages that appear to be falling apart. What begins as simple comfort could quickly become something neither of them ever expected. And if Steffy and Carter cross that line, the consequences could be enormous. So, what exactly is happening between them? Why are they both so vulnerable? And could this drunken mistake completely change the future of Steffy's marriage to Finn? Let's break it all down. Steffy returns home heartbroken. Steffy Forrester has been through an emotional nightmare. The entire Sheila-Carter situation has pushed her to the edge, and the damage to her marriage with John Finnegan has become almost impossible for her to ignore. Steffy recently made the painful decision to tell Finn that their relationship was over. It wasn't a decision she made lightly. For Steffy, Finn was supposed to be her partner, her protector, and the person she could trust when everything around her became chaotic. But the Sheila situation changed everything. Steffy has struggled to understand how Finn could continue allowing his connection to Sheila to affect their marriage. From Steffy's perspective, the situation became about much more than Sheila. It became about trust, and once that trust was damaged, Steffy could no longer simply pretend everything was fine. Now she is returning to Los Angeles carrying all of that emotional pain with her, and instead of dealing with those feelings head-on, Steffy makes a dangerous choice. She drinks a lot. The flight home from Monaco gives Steffy plenty of time to think about everything that has happened. Unfortunately, the alcohol doesn't erase the pain. It only makes her emotions harder to control. By the time Steffy is back in Los Angeles, she is still devastated, and that's when Carter enters the picture. Carter is hurting too. Carter Walton may look like the calm and dependable person everyone expects him to be, but he's dealing with his own emotional disaster. His marriage to Daphne Rose Walton appears to be reaching its breaking point. Carter has also been drinking heavily, which means that when he encounters Steffy, neither of them is thinking with a completely clear head. That is what makes this situation so dangerous. Carter understands what Steffy is feeling because he is experiencing his own heartbreak, too. People who normally might have kept their distance suddenly have something important in common. They are both lonely, they are both disappointed, and they both desperately want to escape the emotional pain surrounding their marriages. That creates the perfect storm. A simple gesture changes everything. When Steffy finally opens up about what has happened with Finn, Carter doesn't judge her. Instead, he tries to comfort her. Carter places a reassuring hand on Steffy's shoulder. At first, it seems innocent. He is simply trying to let Steffy know that she isn't alone, but there is something different about the moment. Steffy is vulnerable. Carter is vulnerable. And alcohol has already lowered the walls that normally keep their emotions under control. The comfort begins to feel more intimate. Neither of them is looking for another relationship. Neither is planning to betray anyone. But emotions don't always follow plans, and that's when the chemistry between them becomes impossible to ignore. The spark they can't. Steffy and Carter have always been connected through the Forrester and Logan business worlds, but this moment feels completely different. There is no business meeting. There are no family members around. There are no distractions. It's simply two broken people standing together at exactly the wrong moment. Carter knows Steffy is hurting. Steffy knows Carter is hurting. And for a brief moment, they make each other feel understood. That emotional connection can be incredibly powerful. Instead of thinking about Finn, Steffy can focus on Carter. Instead of thinking about Daphne, Carter can focus on Steffy. And when the emotional tension finally becomes too strong, a kiss could happen. That kiss could change everything. One kiss leads to a dangerous decision at first. Steffy and Carter may realize immediately that they've crossed a line, but instead of stepping away, they could give in to the moment. They're both intoxicated, they're both emotionally exhausted, and they're both looking for something that can make them forget their problems, even if only for a few minutes. That is why B and B spoilers point towards Steffy and Carter making a drunken mistake. The encounter is less about romance and more about desperation. Neither of them is necessarily thinking about tomorrow. They're thinking about tonight. They're thinking about escaping the pain, and that could lead to a passionate encounter between them in the office. The shocking part isn't simply that Steffy and Carter might get together. It's what happens afterward. Because morning always comes, and when the alcohol wears off, reality returns. The regret will be immediate. Imagine Steffy waking up and remembering what happened. The shock alone could be overwhelming. She has just ended her marriage to Finn, but she hasn't emotionally moved on from him. Now she may have to face the fact that she became intimate with another man, and that man is Carter. Carter will have his own regrets. He may have believed his marriage was already over, but that doesn't necessarily make what happened with Steffy easier to accept. Both of them could begin asking the same question: what have we done? Unfortunately, there is no way to undo it. No amount of regret can erase the memory. And if someone else discovers what happened, the consequences could spread throughout the entire Forrester family. Finn isn't ready to give up while Steffy is making this devastating mistake. Finn is dealing with a completely different problem. He doesn't want to lose his wife. Finn may understand why Steffy is furious, but that doesn't mean he's ready to accept the end of their marriage. For Finn, Steffy is still the person he loves most. Their family still matters to him. Their life together still matters, and he believes there's a way to repair the damage. That is why Finn is likely to spend his return flight thinking about Steffy, instead of simply accepting that their relationship is over. Finn could begin planning his next move. How can he convince Steffy that he understands her? How can he rebuild her trust? And most importantly, how can he prove that Sheila will never again come between them? Finn may be determined to fight for his marriage, but he has no idea that another man may already have entered Steffy's life in the worst possible way. Ridge is furious. Ridge Forrester is also deeply unhappy with how everything has played out. From Ridge's perspective, Finn has failed Steffy at a moment when she needed him most. Ridge doesn't believe Steffy deserves to feel abandoned or betrayed by her husband. His anger toward Finn could continue growing as the situation develops. Ridge may want Finn to understand exactly what he has put at risk. The Forrester patriarch has always been fiercely protective of Steffy, and seeing her marriage collapse is not something he's going to accept easily. But Ridge also doesn't know the full story. He doesn't know what Steffy has done with Carter, and when that secret eventually comes to light, Ridge could find himself facing an entirely different kind of crisis. The Carter-Daphne marriage could collapse. Carter's marriage problems aren't going away either. He may believe that his relationship with Daphne is already finished, but a drunken encounter with Anne that could destroy whatever chance remained for them to reconcile. Carter could suddenly find himself dealing with two broken relationships instead of one. His marriage could be finished, and his new connection with Steffy could also become impossible to manage. That's the irony of the situation. Carter and Steffy may have turned to each other because they were desperate to escape heartbreak. Instead, they could create even more heartbreak. What happens when Finn finds out? This may be the biggest question hanging over the story. Finn is already desperate to win Steffy back. Imagine what happens when he discovers that Carter was the man who comforted her after their breakup. At first, Finn might believe Carter simply helped Steffy through a difficult moment. Then the truth could come out, and if Finn learns that the two of them became intimate while they were drinking, his reaction could be explosive. Finn could feel betrayed. Ridge could become furious. And Steffy could be trapped between regret and confusion. The situation would become even more complicated if Steffy still has feelings for Finn, because A mistake doesn't necessarily erase. Love. It can actually make everything more confusing. Could Steffy develop feelings for Carter? That is where this storyline could become truly dangerous. What begins as one drunken night doesn't necessarily have to end there. Carter and Steffy may initially agree that it was a mistake. They could promise to forget it ever happened, but what if they can't? What if the attraction was real? What if the alcohol only removed the barriers that prevented them from admitting something that had been quietly developing underneath the surface? Carter could begin wondering whether Steffy feels the same way. Steffy could begin questioning whether her connection with Carter was simply a reaction to her problems with Finn. Those questions could keep the two of them connected long after the hangover disappears, and that's when things see